This is a video called the Black Myth Wukong. It's all 5 cutscenes explained, and it's by I can't pronounce. I'm gonna be. I'm sorry if I mispronounce this name. I probably will because I mispronounce every name. But Youngjin Lee, I think that's how you pronounce it. She's a kind of like a. I looked at a couple of her videos outside of this. It's not like she has like one. It seems like more like lifestyle and just making content on whatever she really finds interesting. I saw something where she was making food from like JJK and uh some dating stuff actually too. But anyways, I'm interested in this video, and it seemed like she had a good comprehension of it, especially because from what she says in the beginning, she has actual knowledge of the original story, and that definitely helps with kind of explaining all this and how it kind of happens. So, yeah, we're gonna watch this and get right into it, gamers.
Hello gamers and friends, I believe some of you have questions about the 5 animations at the end of each chapter in the game Black Myth Wukong. So today
Yeah,
I come with
yeah.
references to answer them all today. It's a long video, so here's a brief timestamp for your
All right. So for me, I understood chapter 1 and chapter 2 pretty well, and even chapter 3 was pretty not easy to understand, but it wasn't that difficult in my opinion. There is one scene in that I am very interested in. Hopefully, she'll cover. It's the kind of like the timeline flash between the Spider Queen and Bajie, where it's just like their faces, and I hope that she kind of explains like what they mean, like where they are in the story, because it's almost like you can tell their relationship just based upon the still images that they like played out through that one scene. Anyways, but yeah, so the main ones I'm focused on are chapter 4 and chapter 5. However, with these other chapters, I do believe that there's stuff that I missed, of course, because I'm not familiar with the original story, but also I'm not really too familiar with like say the mythology of the Chinese story to the Journey of the West.
convenience. A more detailed timestamp is available.
Obviously, I know the red boy is the main antagonist from chapter 5. However, oh wait, it doesn't seem like yeah, okay.
In the video description box. So I see a lot of gamers have trouble understanding the animations, mainly from chapter 1, chapter 4, and especially chapter 5. They really left many things unexplained in chapter 5 animation. To understand chapter
Yeah,
5,
they
you
did.
either have to
There's a
read
lot.
the book Journey to the West / watch media adaptations of the book, or you have to be Chinese, like me, grew
Yeah,
up
let's
doing
go.
that. I will be using some
Cultural
original
knowledge.
text from the book and some visual aids from the 1986 TV adaptation to explain. So,
Yeah.
without further ado, let's jump into the first ending animation. In the first animation, I see a lot of gamers are confused by the monk's identity and the plot of the story.
See, I thought that was the monk that we see from like the what's it called? The temple that we kind of first encounter him in, where we learn the cloud step from, something like that. Because he transforms again, she's probably gonna explain it, but I thought that was him because he was a monk and he said that he was trying to reinvigorate or bring back the monastery, bring back like the edict and doctrine of the monastery.
Actually, you have seen and fought the monk in chapter 1. He is
Yeah.
Elder Jinchi, the gold
Oh wait, yeah, never mind. Oh wait, yeah. I was wrong. Yeah. Okay, so this is the Elder Jinshu.
one. And
I need
this
to start write that
animation is
down.
about how Elder Jinchi was destroyed by his greed. The opening of this animation tells the story
So I guess I was wrong. I guess it wasn't straightforward. Oh, that's so funny. 5 seconds in and I've already been disproven completely about what I thought I knew. Love it.
of how Elder Jinchi met Black Bear Guai. A young boy, who later became Elder Jinchi, came across Black Bear
So
Guai.
is the black bear so yeah, so I am correct in thinking that the black bear guai was the guai that we fight. Was that the guai that is from that's like the original monk in the temple that you fight? Because that's what I always assumed that was, and then that this was that monk right there. This is how they merged. But again, this
In a
I
desolate
understand the
forest
kasaya and
filled with
everything
some
because
corpses.
in the actual game he's looking for a kasaya, which is the robes that they wear, and it makes sense because he basically you saw a little clip of it in a second ago, but he basically gets entangled in them and he gets very obsessed with their beauty and like ideals of grandeur,
Black Bear Guai did not attack Jinshi. Instead, he offered Jinshi a
materialism.
bag
I
full
think that's
of
the word.
gold coins and jewels. As
Yeah.
Jinshi later went to study Buddhism, he was attracted by the kasayas from other elders. Although he wanted to dedicate himself to Buddhism, the greed in his
Kasaya.
heart continued to grow and took over him. The shadow of Black Bear Guai became a metaphor for the greed within Jinshi. As he grew older and climbed his way to the highest position of power, Elder
Oop,
Jinshi's
there we go.
kasayas grew increasingly lavish. He
Yeah, so that's why I thought that that's where I kind of thought that the Black Bear
of power.
Guy
Elder
was the guy, but I guess that makes sense
Jinshi's kasayas
because he does look like the what's his name? Like the I can't pronounce it, but the elder dude that you do fight in in like the first secret area. He does look like him, including like the robes. He has the gold and the red and the black, the same color scheme that the elder was using.
grew increasingly lavish.
I
He
didn't see the
constantly
back though.
used his
I was paying
authority
attention to
to
the back.
amass more and more extravagant kasayas. One
Cause
day, Wukong and his team
yeah,
passed by the Guanyin temple and asked to stay for the night. At this point in Elder Jinshi's life, it seemed that he had gotten rid of his greed as his kasaya was in a plain color. That
but little did you know, man was hiding demons in his closet. Everyone got skeletons, and everyone likes like the finer things in life, and that. But yeah, we all like extravagant, nice stuff, and for a monk and for the the aspect of enlightenment, it's letting go of these worldly desires and attachments. So I do understand that it's a taboo to be this indulgent in grandeur and ideals like that. But for most people, I mean, like they see nice clothing, they want it.
evening, the team showed Elder Jinshi's Tang Sanzang's kasaya. Elder Jinshi was captivated by it and asked Tang Sanzang if he could borrow the kasaya.
Wait, wait.
That
So this is Tripitaka's. So this is one of the things I was very curious of too. This guy is very innate. We don't see his face, so I wasn't entirely sure, but I had a feeling that was Tripitaka, or Jinshanzu, whatever version of the name you really want to use, because they're all basically the same person. But anyways, I thought that was him because he does appear in this one. He appears in the second one. See, the second, I think it's the second one. Yeah, he appears in this one. He appears in the second one, and uh, he doesn't appear in the actual story. He gets referenced in on the story. He doesn't appear in the actual game. He gets referenced in the game. He just doesn't actually appear. Same with, I mean, this isn't part. This is part of the game, but it's not at the same time. This is like lore in the game.
he had gotten rid of his greed as his kasaya
But this is Jingshanzu, aka Tripitaka, aka Tang's. I can't pronounce the last
was in a plain color. That evening, the team showed Elder Jinshi's Tang Sanzang's kasaya. Elder Jinshi
name.
was
Yes,
captivated by it and asked Tang Sanzang if he could borrow the
Tang
kasaya for the
Sangzan.
night to admire it,
That's his
promising to
name.
return it the next morning. In the book,
Yeah.
Elder Jinshi
All right. So, chapter 7. This is in the book. Highlighted though is, but because the great black king was cultivating the ways of humanity, often came to our temple to discuss the scriptures with our patriarch. So the Great Black King is obviously the Paraguay, the Black Wind Paraguay that we see, and that's kind of like influencing him from the background. And the patriarch being the elder, not gonna pronounce the other name, not gonna pronounce it, with the elder, and they were okay.
became friends with Black Bear Guai, and he learned the secrets to
I suppose that I suppose that evil spirit must have taught him a few tricks about controlling his vital essence, which is why he lived so long. Okay. On reading this, the monkey roared with a laughter and said, "Crooked old monk, he thoroughly deserved to be." Damn, I guess Sung Wukong really about it, huh? He's like, I don't give a shit how old you are or if you're a monk. You gon' get it. You gonna get this.
extending his lifespan.
He's been ganging up with evil spirits, had he? It's odd that he should have lived to be 270. Oh shit, he was 270?
From Black Bear Guai. He was able to live for 270 years and had about 700 to 800 kasayas.
That is so extra, guy. Hold up.
For 200
How great is your age, venerable abbot? Uh Songzong? Songzon? I think that's how she pronounced it. In my stupid way, I have lived to be 270, the old monk replied. In my stupid way.
270 years and had about
When the monks heard him mention the cassock, I think that's how I pronounce it, cassock, they smiled sinister smiles.
700 to
Yeah.
800 kasayas. Yet still, he could not let go of his obsession with gorgeous kasayas.
He wants them all.
That night, as he admired the kasaya, his greed rekindled like fire, and it devoured him. His greed rekindled like fire, and it devoured him. Elder Jinzhi desperately wanted to keep the kasaya to himself forever.
I mean, yeah, that's the greed. That's the wanting of what someone else has because they have it and you don't. Like it yeah, he has over 200 Kasayas in his possession, but he doesn't have that one. That one belongs to Jin Shanzu, Tang Tang Sha. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. But anyways, belongs to the other guy, and because of that, he wants it because it's another status symbol.
So his two disciples, Guangzhi and Guangmo, made a plan to kill the pilgrimage team. In the end, they decided to set fire to the Guanyin temple. When Wukong heard some noise while sleeping at night, he woke up and saw a monk setting the temple on fire. He then
See, okay, I saw this too when I first watched it. Ready?
He woke up and saw a monk setting.
See in the background here, this is the elder. You can see the spikes coming out of his head. You can see that the giant chrome dome that he has. The facial features. This is the nose right here, the mouth down here.
Fire. He then went to the celestial palace
cool.
to borrow the fireproof mantle to protect his master and his brothers, and let the temple burn to the ground. During the night of fire.
So that's why you have the fireproof mantle. Oh, that's how you got it. Well, how do I say it? I'm just keep saying this wrong. But anyways, yeah, because by the end, so you get the fireproof mantle for it. Either before this fight or after this fight, one of the two. I forget which one. But yeah, that explains it because I mean everything is on fire. And when you go back into the previous, we go into the secret boss room where you fight the elder, the whole temple is burned to the ground. Practically, like there's a lot. I mean, the temple's still behind you, but like it looked like it got burned. Shit was on fire. And same with a lot of the exterior around the mountain too. Like yeah, there are buildings, but a lot of them are like dilapidated, collapsed. You can even see some of them are charred.
Wukong heard some noise while sleeping at night. He woke up and saw a monk setting the temple on fire. He then went to the celestial palace to borrow the fireproof mantle to protect his master and his brothers.
Who'd he borrow it from? Also,
burn to the ground. During the night of fire, Black Bear Guai stole Tang Sanzang's kasaya. To retrieve the kasaya, Wukong sought help from Bodhisattva Guanyin, who not only assisted him.
So the Black Wind Guai did actually steal the kasaya. And the elder kind of ended up dying there, I guess. Ended up dying at the temple.
But also managed to convert Black Bear Guai to become an island guarding deity for her Pultaraka island. She also gave a headband to Black Bear Guai.
So he has the same type of. See, again, this seems to be a way for the Celestials to kind of chain lesser beings to their power, so that way they never kind of step out of bounds. Because they did this, they gave the same type of headdress to I'm pretty sure it was her too. She gave the same type of headdress to Tripitaka that put it on Song Wukong.
Assisted him, but also managed to convert Black Bear Guai to become an island guarding deity for her Pultaraka island. She also gave a headband.
What is this from too? Because this is very interesting. The actual animation.
To Black Bear Guai. So this scene right here is in the story of Journey to the West. Let's move on to the second ending animation. The second animation is easy to understand,
Yeah,
Though
this one, not only is this one easy to understand, but you even see the relative conclusion and more expositions, or an explanation as to what happened to these characters and all that in the second act. This is the second one. So then wait, is it the? Am I tripping? Am I tripping right now? Why do I feel like I'm missing something? I don't know. We'll see. Um, Yeah, but this one was very straightforward in my opinion. This is probably the most easiest to understand. I especially once you play the game and like you get through the you get to the second act, or no, you get to the third act of going to the New West, and in the New West, that's where you fight this guy, because he actually leaves to become a monk at one of the temples and follow under Yellowbrow, who is the main antagonist of that chapter. And yeah, you have to fight this guy, and in doing so, you actually talk to this wolf guy, or actually no, fox guy, this fox guy here, and help them get a bit of closure for it, pretty much.
I see a lot of gamers are confused by the animal and saying it is a dog. It's not a dog.
It's a
It's
wolf.
not a
I
wolf.
mean, it's a fox.
It's a fox.
Yeah, I see. I'm sorry. I can't. I literally just said it twice, and I'm an idiot. I even knew it was a fox fly. The thing even says I was a fox fly.
In Chinese mythology, dogs and wolves are not that prominent, but foxes are. The most famous dog is the one
Mm-hmm.
Erlang has. So next time, if you see an animal that looks like a dog is the
See,
one
yeah,
Erlang
yeah.
has.
That is the. I want to know more about this dog. This is the name for the dog. Maybe I'll do like a bit. Maybe I'll do this by myself or something like that. But I am very interested in finding out more about like who or what this fucking dog is that Erlang has.
So next time, if you see an animal that looks like a dog or a wolf, and it can turn into a beautiful woman, or it is involved in love affairs, that's a fox. In
It's a
Chinese
fox.
mythology, fox Yao Guai, also called Hu Li Jing, are often
Also called what?
In Chinese mythology, fox Yao Guai, also called Hu Li Jing, are often depicted
I can't.
as being able to transform into beautiful women to seduce or deceive people. For
Yeah.
example, nine
I mean, fox are also they do appear in other mythologies too, because a fox is a very cunning creature. I mean, that's why there's the saying "cunning as a fox" or something, or "sly as a fox," something like that. It is. They are very relevant animals in a lot of different mythologies. I mean, especially Asian ones. Japan has their own, Korea has their own, and China obviously has their own versions of these creatures and what they do, and well, stories of how they've kind of interfered with humans and everything. Same with stuff like we see with snakes. Snakes appear often in a lot of mythology
tailed fox.
because they do symbolize a lot. Stuff being, well, venomous, so being like kind of like sly. Yeah,
However, Hu Li Jing can also take on the form of man, though this is rarely
destroyers.
mentioned in stories. The message of this animation is that good and evil are separated by one single thought. A scholar saved an
Yeah,
injured fox out of the kindness in his heart.
yeah, that did seem to be the theme. That was like one action can determine whether something is good or bad.
At night, he had a dream. In the dream, the fox turned into a woman, and they started dating and had a family. Many
I went
years
steady with the
later,
fox.
they even had
It's a
grandkids,
fox
but
a
the
lady.
fox one day reverted back to its Yaoguai form and
Yeah,
slaughtered his entire family.
including
Although he
him.
knew it reverted
That
back
was
to
him.
its
I'm pretty sure that
Yaoguai
was him.
form and
I was pretty sure it was meant to be him or his son. I don't know.
slaughtered his
I always thought that
entire
was him.
family. Although he knew it was just a nightmare when he woke up, the fear lingered. So he decided to kill the fox and kept it
The
as a
one that was
scarf.
getting eaten.
And that was the evilness in his heart. If you think
You
about
are
it, he
a
could have
scarf.
just let the fox go. At the
Yeah.
very end of
No, for real. He could just let the fox fuck off, but instead he went, nope, 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 nope. Gotta end it. End the bloodline. End it here.
this animation, there's a different message that Bodhisattva Lingji left for Wukong. He said,
Men,
I do remember
beasts,
this. This is so good.
Buddhas, Yaoguais. Each of them bears a distinct root from birth, superior and inferior. None
Superior
should
and
disturb what's
inferior.
decided. Am I right, Sun Wukong?
this is strange. Because in Buddhism,
In Buddha, however, such variations and different differentiations, as pointed out by Buddhism, are but illusionary phenomena of life. For insofar as the essence of man is concerned, insofar, yeah, I guess so. Human beings are absolutely on equality with one another. According to Buddhism, equality is not fragmentary and sectional, but complete and universal. Okay, so pretty much they're basically saying every man is every human beings are absolutely on equality with another one. Was that talking about phenomena of life so far? I don't know a lot about Buddhism, so again, I don't want to speculate on stuff. We'll move
everyone
on.
is
We'll move
created
on. I don't want to
equally.
speculate.
Bodhisattva Lingji said that to remind Wukong to stay in his own lane, and reminded Wukong
See,
that
okay, there we go. Someone who actually knows a good interpretation of that. Basically, it's they're saying stay in your own lane, which does make sense. I mean, a lot of the times, people that interfere or try to poke into other people's lives without any real like need to do so, it's just annoying, you know? When someone's when you're just doing your thing and someone just makes it their whole objective to bother you, interfere with whatever you're doing because for some reason in their mind like it's not right is so fucking wild to me and we see so much of it today.
he is a Yaoguai and he is inferior to gods and Buddhas. This message is tied to the main theme of Black Myth Wukong, which is the gods and Buddhas do not have trust in Yaoguais like Wukong,
Yeah.
even though he has done good deeds and was made a Buddha once. They only
Not only was he made a Buddha, I mean technically even so at the end of this, like well, at the beginning of this, he is I think he's still a Buddha, isn't he? He just didn't want to be in the upper in like the celestial court. He was still given that title. He is still the god. He is still the victory not the god, the victory Buddha.
Wukong, even though he has done good deeds and was made a Buddha once. They only saw Wukong and his kind as inferior creatures. Let's move on to the third ending animation. The third animation is about human nature.
See, this was a very interesting one. So this I did not realize what
Move
that
on to the third ending animation. The
I didn't
third
realize that this guy, the monster, the main, I guess I don't know what you would call him really, but this is Yellowbrow. This is Yellowbrow interfering with like the mortal realm and just trying to prove a point pretty much about his own ideology over Jing Shanzu.
third animation is about human nature. Yellowbrow and Jin Chanzi, aka Golden Cicala, which also is the former incarnation of Tang Sanzang, made a
Hmm.
bet on human nature.
Wait, the former incarnate. Okay, so yeah.
Yellowbrow believes humans are inherently evil, and Jin Chanzi disagrees. Yellowbrow and Jin Chanzi are disciples of two Buddhas. Yellowbrow is the disciple of Bodhisattva Maitreya, and Jin Chanzi is the second
Tahagata.
disciple of Tathagata Buddha. This also Maitreya.
So I do want to look into. I always pronounce this as my. I guess that's definitely wrong, but Maitreya, Buddha. Oh, let me hide this. Buddha Vista Maitreya. Yeah, I do want to look into him because he seems very important and he plays a big role in the actual in the game, especially when it comes to the final, like the secret final secret boss.
And Jin
I
Chanzi
should probably actually keep that hidden for this. And then this is the yeah
is the second disciple of Tathagata Buddha. This also
Tathagata, which he is the as
Maitreya.
if
And Jin
if
Chanzi
I know if I'm correct in saying this, I might be wrong. This is the Buddha that actually sealed that sealed Sun Wukong in the mountain or underneath the mountain. This was the guy that did it to him.
is the second disciple of Tathagata Buddha. This also stays true to the book with one exception. Yellowbrow and Jin Chanzi do not know each other. But in the game, they are depicted as Dharma brothers as they both study Buddhism and they
Yes.
often place bets and argue about
So in the fight that you do with Yellowbrow, actually, he does reference Xing Shanzu and how they were both disciples, I guess. Well, when they were both disciples, they knew each other and they had like they have different ideologies. They didn't see eye to eye.
Their ideologies. To prove his point, Yellowbrow transformed himself into a soft-shelled turtle and came to the mortal realm.
That's a soft shell turtle. What the fuck?
Actually, I don't know what this creature is. The closest thing that I can think of is a soft-shell turtle. This turtle has many special abilities. For example,
Why?
when he cuts open his
Also, booty
body, the
hole.
wound does not bleed, but instead reveals gold and jewels. His
Jews
nails can cure illness, and his mucus can make people beautiful. He can even make fish rain from the sky,
need
and
that.
people no longer have to put in effort to gain results. At the beginning of this animation, you can see that people in this poor fishing village originally worshiped Buddha. However,
Yeah, holy shit, you're right. I didn't even notice that. They were originally Buddhist
you
disciples,
can see
or that was originally their religion. Um, I mean, even when he first shows up, Yellowbrow, I don't know like the name of like the specific hand signs, but he does make a hand sign that does reflect Buddhism, and I'm pretty sure it's very similar to this hand sign he's making here.
that people in this poor fishing village originally worshiped Buddha. However, over time, they began to
Yeah,
worship the
this is
turtle,
what
replacing
that's
all the
what he
Buddha
was doing. That was the thing that we saw.
fishing village originally worshiped Buddha. However, over time,
See, this is the hand sign he was making, and I'm pretty sure that's the same hand sign the statue for the Buddha was making
they
too.
began to worship the turtle, replacing all the Buddha statues with the turtle statues. They even built a temple for the turtle and started to worship it. Notably, in the initial
Understandably.
temple, there was a couplet that read, 何负众生受大苦，今入长乐无为处. It means, enduring great sufferings in carrying sentient beings, he now has entered a state of eternal bliss independent of conditions.
Okay, so enduring great sufferings and carrying sentient beings, he now has entered a state of eternal bliss independent of conditions. Is that talking about the fact that he has to wound himself in order to give back to these people? And now that from his own pain he can see people's joy, that gives him happiness?
This couplet is from Buddha pronounces the Sutra of Maitreya Bodhisattva's attainment of Buddhahood, and it is Maitreya Buddha's praise to Sakyamuni Buddha. There are actually a couple more lines before that. It goes,
Okay.
the great guiding teacher, enduring adversity and fiercely valiant, was able to teach, convert, and bring evil sentient beings to maturity in the unwholesome
Alright.
world of the five turbidities, enabling them to train themselves to see the next Buddha.
Alright. So that actually, I mean, from what I gather from that, I mean, I'm no scholar, and again, not Chinese here, but that does seem to be what along the lines I was talking about, except the fact that they are teaching not only just good beings, good people, but as well as evil too. So bring evil sentient beings to maturity. Was able to teach, convert, and so yeah, teach and convert, meaning that they are changing their thought processes and their ideologies, guiding them as a teacher. Yeah, for the next Buddha.
Turn it into
I guess
his own
anyone can
belief.
kind of really
He
attain
thought of
Buddhism.
suffering
You just have to reach these specific requirements.
merely at the surface level and provided bliss to people without teaching, converting, and bringing them to maturity. From then on, more and more people came to worship the turtle, and the temple kept expanding. Even the
They got
architectural
rich.
decorations featured the turtle's head. Among the worshippers were government officials and monks. It's quite ironic for monks to worship this turtle because this
Facts.
turtle is temptation
Facts.
itself. And to be a
It's
monk,
not
you
even
have
it's temptation,
quell
it's
all your
materialism
temptations.
also. This is temptation, this is materialism, this is gluttony, this is just everything that you would kind of veer away from in at the search of enlightenment, more or less. And again, his whole idea is to prove how he can corrupt people, and the truth in the nature of people's hearts being or lying towards his ideals rather than kind of what Tripitaka wants or Jang Shanzu, because at the end of this they talk about how he was trying to prove something and Jang Jing Shanzu says that you didn't prove anything. Oh, you didn't give a means to a proof or something along the lines.
Supposedly, the quality of life in this fishing village should have improved, but you can tell it hasn't by looking at the villagers' clothing
Yeah,
that
they're
they
still poor
remained
as
just as poor
shit.
as before. One night, the villagers came to worship the turtle, and the government officials set up fences around it to maintain order. The officials played the role of collecting jewels from the turtle and distributing them to the people. The
Yep.
government officials were always the ones who controlled.
Audio change. Yeah, that I mean I did notice that too. It's the fact that even with a being that is meant to give back to people and kind of make life easier, you will still have those trying to control it at the top so that way they can more or less control the people and their happiness. Because if they just started giving away all the money and shit like that, people everyone would be rich. There wouldn't be any poor people. There wouldn't be people. There wouldn't be servants for these noblemen and stuff like that. So they more or less have to be very selective with how they're giving out, and how much they're giving out.
Control any unexpected treasure and only share a tiny bit to the people. In the crowd, there was a man who was deeply attracted to these jewels. There was a
Yeah,
mysterious force gave him a little pull forward, and following his inner impulse, he continued walking up to the turtle and cut it open.
I don't think it was a mysterious force. I think it was the personification of greed, as we were seeing. I mean, the whole idea for this was that he wanted to show the corruption in people's hearts and how greed more or less takes over a person, no matter how virtuous or who they might be. Really, monks and other officials have already given into it. Now we're seeing a person who's a regular ass person just in a desperate situation, more or less doing something that is rather reprehensible. In a lot of these cultures, or at least I believe that it would be. Killing another creature is generally not looked at greatly. Uh, but again, I could be wrong. I know not absolutely nothing, but I know very little about actual Buddhism. So I don't want to infer something that could be obviously
With a
wrong.
knife. I think Yellow Brow gave him that pull. As he took the first step to rob treasures,
I don't think Yellowbrow gave him that pull. I think he didn't give him. It's not like he cast a spell on him. I think the spell was the fact that his existence was what could make this man's life better. Him seeing all those jewels is what pulled him in. It wasn't like some magic spell that was cast on him. The spell, more or less, was the greed that he unlocked in his heart.
this action stirred up the crowd, and people rushed forward to snatch treasures from the turtle, like ants swarming over the
Oh
carcass
yeah,
of his snake,
I. That's what that was. Okay.
or fish devouring a dead dog. The monks in the crowd closed their eyes and chanted scriptures to stay away from temptations.
Yeah, because again, that's the whole point, is that they're trying to not, oh, well, again, stave away temptation, but they've already more or less given into it by following him.
But their hands were secretly picking up jewels from
Yeah, they're already way past the point of redemption. They have already given up on the way of the Buddha and the path that they were already on. It's very sad. In a way, you can see how Yellowbrow does in a way win. He shows that people in their truest of nature can be very greedy.